2 rowers have praised Ewan for braving treacherous weather to save them from running aground or capsizing as they competed in the GB Row Challenger. Sophie Harris and Lamondine said they owed Ewan everything for coming to their aid with the Coastguard. 5 rowers were taking part in the challenge, which would see them travel 2,000 miles around Great Britain. At around 1:30 in the morning, the Coastguard received a mayday call that the boat was at risk of running ashore or capsizing off the west coast of Scotland. With temperatures close to freezing and the boat close to dangerous rocks, winch paramedic Ewan Gibson explained the crew didn't have long and they had to be evacuated from the vessel. Driver left embarrassed after beach parking space sees van float out to see the crew explained usually a rescue could take 10 minutes but in the dark, they would have to use infrared and it was likely to take an hour. Ewan explained, "It's probably the hardest environment that you will ever fly or hover in. It just made my heart race because I hadn't done one of these jobs for a good 10 or 12 years." When the crew eventually spotted the rowing boat, it initially looked as though there were just 3 survivors. However, when they were lowered onto the vessel, they learned 2 rowers were in a cabin. One of those on board was Sophie, an amputee, who was the last to be taken off the boat due to how treacherous the weather was. Don't miss. Inside the life of Brenda Blethen from 8 siblings and divorce to Vera Roll, Insight, Coronation Street Spurney causes chaos for Dev with new venture, latest, Antiques Roadshow guest refuses to sell scruffy chess set worth small fortune, watch, Lamon, who was on the boat, recalled, going off course, it can be fatal. You can drift and hit other vessels, you can drift into rocks. Via the GPS, we were very, very close indeed. You're hit at that speed by waves and it will just absolutely annihilate the boat and everyone in it. I can honestly say, I've never ever been so scared in my life. When you're trying to row against Mother Nature, when you're isolated and you're helpless, Terry Snow hiding out there. I was thinking about my family, not being able to see anybody again. That was my biggest fear. Ewan went on to explain at times, waves were 10 to 15 feet above the boat and everyone had to be evacuated as soon as possible. Sophie was waiting in the boat's cabin until help arrived and the crew were concerned for her welfare. They begged Ewan to take her up to the helicopter first but he insisted it was safer if she stayed with him on the boat. The other 4 crew members were extracted in pairs first before Sophie was airlifted to safety with Ewan last. Ewan said of the rescue, "I was never sort of relaxed until I witched up last with Sophie. When you've done a job to the best of your ability and you have recovered 5 people like we did that night from a very small boat in some horrific sea conditions, as soon as that door was closed, I gave out a big sigh of relief." Reflecting on the rescue, Lamon said, "I owe the Coastguard everything. Very, very grateful because it was a real close shave." Sophie added, "Ewan risked his own life to save us that night not knowing what he was going to deal with. Ultimately, Terry's no 2 ways about it, the Coastguard crew that night saved our lives." Coastguard, Search and Rescue SOS is available to watch on Channel 5 now.